Welcome to Cupid's Corner, where love stories come alive. Sit back, relax, and let the tales of romance sweep you off your feet.
Heartbeats in the chaos. The cold blue lights of the police cruiser reflected on the wet asphalt as John parked outside St. Mary's Hospital. He stepped out, his boots splashing in the puddles, the chilly night air biting through his uniform. The streets were rough tonight, filled with sirens, and the city's pulse beat a relentless rhythm. He strode past the entrance, greeted by the familiar smell of antiseptic that wafted from the hospital. The night had begun with a routine traffic stop that quickly escalated into a high-speed chase. Now, it was John's job to secure the crime scene that had left a civilian hurt and a suspect in handcuffs, but he had learned to accept that chaos was part of the territory. As he stepped into the emergency room, the atmosphere thickened, anxiety mingled with the scent of human vulnerability. He approached the desk, where a flurry of nurses moved with practiced precision. He spotted Millie just behind them, her dark curls bouncing as she navigated through the chaos. There was something about the way she glided between patients and staff, exuding calm even amid turmoil, that caught his attention every time he came to the ER. Millie didn't notice him at first. She was too busy tending to a young boy who had come in with a broken arm. Her gentle whispers calmed him, her hands steady and sure. John didn't mind spending a few moments watching her, admiring her commitment to her patients. Just then, an urgent call pierced the air, and the atmosphere shifted again. "Millie! We need you in Unit 3. A fellow nurse shouted. She pivoted instantly, her face a mask of urgency. John knew that expression well. It was the look of someone who was about to run headlong into chaos. He followed, not wanting to miss the chance to talk to her, even in the middle of all the madness.
Millie's heart raced as she sprinted toward Unit 3. The hallway was bustling with doctors and nurses darting like fireflies, each one lit by purpose. Her mind only half consumed by the chaos, it flickered back to the cop she often saw during her shifts. John, the man with the deep voice and compassionate gaze. The night had already brought a fair share of calamity. A gang-related shooting had filled the ER, and every bed was occupied. She focused on the task ahead, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Turning slightly, she caught John's eye as he stood back, hands crossed over his chest, the lines of concern etched deep into his features. A moment later, adrenaline surged. Millie was pulled into the whirlwind of her job, her training kicking in as she began meticulous triage. An elderly man was being wheeled in, a team of EMTs rushing to give their report. "Gunshot wound, 3 sites, one in the abdomen," one of the medics shouted, and Millie felt the weight of the world press down on her. John watched as she leaped into action. There was a certain rhythm to how she moved, an elegance that reminded him of a dancer. He felt something tug at him, a desire to be closer, to connect beyond their brief encounters in this hectic environment.
As the chaos unfolded around him, John found himself admiring Millie even more. His phone buzzed in his pocket, another alert, another call. He knew he should be out there managing the scene, making sure the area was secure for further investigations, but every time he looked up, he found Millie. His heart thudded as he pondered her world. While he wielded authority in law enforcement, she wielded compassion and strength in the face of human suffering. A flashing image of her breathless laughter surfaced in his mind, and he longed to hear it again, to feel that connection he barely understood but craved. As the night dragged on, the pressure in the ER didn't relent. At around 2 a.m., during a brief pause, Millie finally made her way toward him, scrubs stained with the evidence of her commitment. "Hey, John," she said, her smile both weary and radiant. "Hey, Millie. How's it going in there?" he asked, trying to gauge the depth of fatigue in her eyes. "Just the usual," she replied, running a hand through her hair, the natural curls bouncing softly. "How's your side of the night?" "They brought in a suspect from the shooting. He'll be in custody," John replied, his voice lowering. "But I'm more worried about the victims." Millie nodded, her expression immeasurable. "We're doing everything we can. Sometimes it feels like we're fighting a losing battle, but we have to believe we're making a difference." "Would you ever consider a quieter life?" John asked, and regretted the words immediately. But Millie chuckled softly, the laugh lightening the tension between them. "And abandon the chaos? No way. It's what I live for." John paused, contemplating how different their worlds were but how enthralled he was by the life she chose. Just then, the emergency alert system pinged loudly, and they both flinched at the sound. "Back to it," Millie said, the professional mask slipping back into place.
As the night pressed on, fatigue threatened to swamp her. Working alongside her team flared her determination, but her thoughts drifted to John, a connection that felt real amidst the insanity. After hours of treating patients, she finally caught a break and stepped out into the dimly lit corridor for a moment of solitude. "Is this a good time for a talk?" John's voice broke the silence, pulling her from her thoughts. Millie felt her heart race again. "Yeah, actually. I could use a moment with you." The two stood together, the air filled with unsaid words and electric tension. John took a step closer, his expression earnest. "Millie, I know this isn't the best time or place, but I don't want to just be someone you run into occasionally. I think I'm starting to feel something." Her breath caught in her throat. "Me too, John." But he took another step closer, the urgency of confession burning in his eyes. "Let's leave the chaos for a minute." Before she could respond, John reached forward, gently pulling her into an embrace. Their lips met, and the world around them faded into the background. It was a brief moment that felt like a lifetime, charged with everything they were, everything they shared, the unspoken bond of two souls fighting for others while longing for their own peace. As they pulled apart, both breathless, Millie smiled up at him, the streaks of adrenaline finally giving way to a glimmer of something bright between them. "We'll figure this out, won't we?" Millie whispered, her heart hammering in her chest. John nodded, a spark of hope igniting in his chest. Together. In the frenetic, flickering light of the emergency room, amid countless heartbeats of fear and hope, amidst the healing bleeps of machines, two lives found solace in each other, ready to face the chaos that lay ahead. The end.
Thank you for listening. Let's spread the love. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, because everyone deserves a bit of romance.